Gartmorn Loch is set in a lovely location, just to the east of Sochi in Clackmannanshire. Today, the loch is a popular recreational space, where dog walkers can stroll on a well-managed path that goes right around the loch. Cyclists can enjoy the views, birdwatching and fishing, popular pastimes. But this land is land reclaimed by nature, as it used to be industrial. Created in 1713 by John Erskine, Earl of Mar, who went on to lead the Jacobites in the 1715 uprising. The reservoir was used to supply local coal mines with water. In an area of heavy industry, tragic death was a frequent caller. But ill fortune and loss can come in many different guises. The water goddess Dana claimed her full quota of souls on the 1st of July 1860. That day, which would be remembered for a long time afterwards, was a Sunday, and a small boy was spotted carrying a bundle of clothes. Tears were streaming down his young face. He was apparently very distressed. When stopped, he exclaimed, "Oh, it's my brother and another laddie that's drowned." Referring to the bundle he was carrying, he said, "This is the clothes, and I'm running home to tell our mother." A large party made their way to Gartmorn Loch, where it was soon discovered that the boy's tragic account was sadly all too real. The missing boys were William Taylor and Joseph Hemsley, both 12 years old. They had been at the east end of the loch with about a dozen pals. The water was unusually high at the time of year owing to recent heavy rain. At that part of the loch, the ground sloped gently down before suddenly becoming very deep. Both boys paddled out and vanished at the same time at the point where it deepened. While most of the youngsters stood wide-eyed and open-mouthed as the tragedy unfolded before them, one brave wee fellow called Alexander Wright dived in and gallantly tried to reach the two boys. Unfortunately, this act of courage was unsuccessful. A search was organised using a boat and some grappling hooks, which went on until 7 p.m. that evening. A man called David Penman dived into the water to look for the bodies and located both boys. The remains were brought to the surface and in a sombre procession taken home. The two boys were both fatherless and attended the local industrial school, where vagrant or impoverished children would be sent to learn a trade.
Explore Provan Hall after dark.
Is it really haunted?
Join us to find out.
If you dare.
At almost at the same time, on the same day, another tragedy was playing out on Gartmorn Loch. Two young men were swimming in the loch. The men were a ship's carpenter, Donaldson, and a carpenter called Murray. Both were strong swimmers, and decided to swim out to an island on the loch. As they made their way across the water, both swimmers became entangled in some weeds. A local farmer and a man called Henderson from Sochi spotted the two young men struggling in the water, and grabbing a rope ran to assist. Murray was brought to the shore in an exhausted state, but Donaldson, who had sunk below the water and risen to the surface 6 or 7 times, was out of reach. Finally, he disappeared one last time before the helpless onlookers and was lost. His body was found at 9 p.m. and taken by cart to the home of his distraught parents. Now Gartmorn Loch is a reservoir and sits in the Gartmore Dam County Park and Nature Reserve. If you have a stroll round the loch on the north side, you will pass the site that used to be Sheriffyards Colliery, which closed in 1921. There is not much left to see of this once substantial coal mine. The ruins have deteriorated in a couple of years. I visited the site in the winter a few years ago, so these are the pictures I took when there was no vegetation. A particular tragic accident took place here in 1911. On the 7th of June that year, Father William Peter Mitchell from nearby Sochi, some reports referred to him as Peter, was working underground with his 17-year-old son, also called William. As William Sr. swung his pick, it glanced off a hard rock, and instead of becoming embedded in the coal, it shot back, and the sharp end stabbed the young boy in the stomach. William Jr. was taken back up to the surface, and medical help was sought. Still, the young man died the following day from his terrible injury. The poor father must have been inconsolable. If you've enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe. You might like to take one of our dark history tours, ghost tours, or paranormal investigations that are held in Perthshire, Glasgow and Stirling. If so, please visit our website, which is www.historyandhorrortours.com. Thank you.